Welcome to the Balance Warrior podcast. You have Coach Chris Burlow here. Excited to be with you all today and grateful for all of you tuning in, whether you are watching it or listening to it. You have come to the right place to learn about how to achieve multidimensional success. Multidimensional success is our objective. It is our goal. It is the idea of achieving success in different areas of life, the areas that are most near and dear to your heart, not just making more money, not just being in the best physical condition, but making a great living, having great relationships, being in good health, maybe being more spiritual, whatever those areas are important to you. We want to help you achieve that. So today is a solo episode. So you're going to put up with me for about 15-20 minutes. And I'm excited to share with you some concepts that are directly in our book. The book is called You Have Infinite Power. If you are watching, I'm holding up a copy. If you are listening, then it is called You Have Infinite Power, written by myself, Coach Paul Malella, and some dear friends, Nick Palumbo and Rick Wollman. We wrote this book back in 2007 and ended up being the platform for our coaching program at Empowered Mastery, which is called the You Have Infinite Power Coaching Program, or short, YHIP. But today, I want to go over something that's been in the forefront of my mind, especially with all of the stuff happening in our world. You know, this is a tumultuous time in society. Things are happening that many people are so supportive of, and many people are not supportive of. And there's a lot of, let's say, confrontational conversations going around, at least in the United States. So I want to share a concept to hopefully allow you to rise above all of the noise. It is chapter 3 in our book. It is the awareness chapter. Another time I'll share with you all the other chapters, but this is the awareness chapter. And in the awareness chapter, we start with something called the 7 levels of awareness. So I want to take this time, and again, I'm going to write them on a board. If you're watching, I'm going to write them on this whiteboard. Just don't judge me by my handwriting. It is not the best. But if you're listening, you'll be able to absorb the information just fine, right? But you'll see how this could make sense. And then I want to challenge you at the end of this episode for you to give yourself an evaluation of what area, what level of awareness do you see yourself in? And then also, what do you think you need to do to improve, to go to a higher level of awareness? So think about that question as we go through this topic, okay? All right, so 7 levels of awareness. The first one is animal. The animal level, or animalistic. I wrote an I instead of a 1. What does that mean? That basically the lowest level of awareness is just about survival. What does an animal do? They need to eat, they need to sleep, they need water, they need to maybe hunt, but they are just surviving. Now, a domesticated dog, like my dogs, Max and Ruby, they have the life of luxury. In fact, I wish I had their life. But reality is they have such simple lives. All they want is, for my dogs, they want to snuggle with my wife on the couch, and then they want to eat all the time, and they want to sleep. But it's a very primitive existence. Now, you may think, all right, as an entrepreneur or a business owner, yeah, there's times I'm in survival mode, and you have like this animalistic nature, and that's completely fine and acceptable, and I've been there. But the reality is, you're not really thinking for yourself. All you're doing is just existing and surviving. Okay. Second level, level 2, is the masses level. This level of awareness is the one personally for me, concerns me the most. This is where I believe 90% of society exists. It is pretty unhappy to think that, and scary to think that, but I believe it is so, especially with the onslaught of social media. Because I believe, unfortunately, less and less people are thinking for themselves, but they're following what everybody else is thinking, and they're jumping on the bandwagon. Again, social media magnified this situation. So there's more people following the masses and just doing what they're doing because they're doing it, and they're not thinking for themselves. So if you feel like at times you're oh wow, they're doing this and that, think about that, and then maybe look, all right, how do I do better? What can I do better? And you may even notice, like in your mind, you're like, wow, that person, yeah, they're just following what everybody else does, and they're just following what everybody else does. Personally speaking, if I see everybody going this way, I kind of want to go the other way. Why? Because it's much more, I guess, a little bit, what do you call it? More isolated, right? People are going to this way. I want to go into the mountains. I want to go into the woods. That's me personally, but not everybody will maybe agree with that. Number three is the understanding level. And this is the level where the individual starts to realize that they want something more in life, but they're really afraid to take action because they're worried about other people are going to think of them, right? So we call this the terror barrier. The terror barrier is that one line where they won't cross it because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be uncomfortable. They're worried about, again, what other people are going to think, whether it be family, friends, colleagues, but they're basically paralyzed by fear to take that next step. But they do want more in life. Number 4 is the individual level. This is where you actually really identify what your unique ability is. You come to an understanding what your specialty is, and you have a strong desire to express whatever specialty that is, right? So maybe if you're in the martial arts, right, now you're like, wow, I'm really good at this. I love to teach. I want to now take this to the next step. I found my direction. I found more or less what I was born to do. All right, good. Next level, number 5. Number 5 is the discipline level. This is the level that separates you from a lot of other people. This is the level where I believe that you have developed all of the physical and technical skills to be an expert in your field. You know what you need to do. You approach, whether it be business or life, very confidently. You care and you take pride in what you're doing. But this is the one where you start to flourish in whatever career or whatever direction you're in. This is a pretty high level. It is one where basically you found your stride, right? So going back, number 1, animalistic, you're surviving. Number 2, masses, you're following everybody else. Number 3, understanding, you're want to do better, but you're not sure how, and you're afraid because of what other people are going to think about you. Number 4 is individual. You know what you want. You have clarity. You're excited, but you're still not 100% in. And the discipline level is when you made that commitment. But the difference between the discipline level and then number 6, the recondition level, is big, very big. Where the discipline level, you have developed all of the technical skills and the physical skills to be successful in your craft. The recondition level is where you become mentally and emotionally connected to what you're doing. So a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of individuals in the financial services come to us at Empowered Mastery in that discipline level. They have the skills. They have the techniques. They have the support. They have the software. They have everything they need to be successful, but they hit a ceiling of complexity. And that ceiling of complexity is holding them back. They can't figure out how to break it. They're like, look, I'm really good at this. I know my stuff, but I'm just stuck. That's because they're not at the recondition level. The recondition level is when you become emotionally and mentally connected to what you do. You have a very strong why. We call that a worthy ideal. When you develop and create and identify a worthy ideal, what you do no longer becomes work, it becomes mission based. For example, in our company, Empowered Mastery, the worthy ideal is to inspire and impact professionals and entrepreneurs to achieve ultimate success. We actually tweaked it multidimensional success and develop physically, so they're physically strong, mentally, so they're mentally sharp, spiritually, whatever is most important to them, and professionally, so they're crushing it in business. So they can live a life filled with passion and purpose to inspire and impact professionals and entrepreneurs to achieve ultimate success, personally, professionally, physically, and spiritually, so they live a life filled with passion and purpose. That is why I am on this podcast with you right now, because I could have been easily hiking in the mountains, but I am dedicated to this worthy ideal. I am at that recondition level where I am driven by something much more than the dollars that I'm going to make. I'm driven by something much more than just doing the activity. I am driven by passion about making a positive difference and impact of the lives of the people that I have the ability to connect with. That is the recondition level. In the martial arts business, which I've been in for many years, it was very easy. I'm so passionate about the martial arts. I still train. I still teach regularly. It's part of my life. Like, there's no problem. I'm so emotionally connected because it changed my life. And I'm also passionate about what we do at Empowered Mastery and this podcast. Why? Because the concepts have enriched my life so much. And I've also had the opportunity to share this knowledge and wisdom that has been handed to me to so many people. This is a passion project. This is a passionate part of my life. That is when you know when you're in the recondition level. For those individuals in the financial services, when you look at a client at a possibility and you see a dollar sign and it's transactional, you're not at that level. But when you will look at that client, you say, wow, I have the opportunity and the gift to provide security and certainty and help them grow their wealth so their families can live happily and confidently and with security for the rest of their days. That is passion. That is the recondition level. And then the highest level of awareness that we discuss is disassociation. It's interesting. My theory on disassociation has changed over the years through my trainings with Grandmaster Kim, and also training with Coach Paul and just life in general. It says in our book, in our workbook, that you master the recondition level, and that will eventually take you to the 7th level of disassociation. I actually don't think that. I think the recondition level gets you emotionally connected and you no longer have to work because you're fulfilling a mission. But the disassociation level is where the circumstances in the world around you don't affect how you feel internally. This is important. And to be honest, I train a lot. I train meditation. I train in the mountains and hiking. I have green tea all the time. And I know we've shared these concepts often, but all of my training is geared to reaching this disassociation level or staying at this disassociation level. Because when you have the level of disassociation, a client says, no, thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope that our paths will cross in the middle in the future, and we could do some work at that time. Thank you so much. But I don't get upset. The client says, yes, thank you for the opportunity to work with you. I'm so excited that we're going to be able to continue this venture together, and we're going to do some great stuff in the future. I don't get overly excited. I go on to the next task and the next task and the next task. I don't get emotionally connected to what I'm doing which is contradicting what we say in recondition. It doesn't mean I don't care. I care a lot. I have a lot of passion. It just means that if somebody says yes or somebody says no, I'm okay. It doesn't bother me because I'm still living my best life. I'm still doing what I love to do. That's disassociation. Somebody cuts you off and you're driving down the road and then they really cut you off bad. Like, oh man, you get angry and you start to, no, you are completely associated with that action. But you say, wow, oh, I feel so bad for them. They must be in a bigger hurry than me. Let them just go first. That's disassociation. Your children are driving you nuts and you can still stay cool under that extreme circumstance. That is disassociation. Something's happening in the world that's kind of traumatic and crazy, and there's so many people saying these incredibly hateful things, and you don't allow that to get to your center. It doesn't move you from your center. That is disassociation. And disassociation is the highest level because it's the hardest to achieve. It's the hardest to achieve. And the only way to achieve disassociation is not getting mentally and emotionally connected to things you can't control. And if you can do that and disassociate from the things you can't control, you're going to most likely improve your peaceful life. You'll have more peace in your life, probably by 80%. Because 80% of the things that happen in our world we can't control anyway. We can only control how we react to it. And somebody who has mastered disassociation doesn't react irrationally. They accept it, they digest it, and then they move forward. It doesn't mean we don't have emotion. It just means we don't let the outside circumstances, situations, and even people affect how we feel internally. That is what I hope you all strive to achieve. It is a very profound concept. Some of you, it may be a little bit hard to absorb and digest, but I would hope that you have an open mind and you think about it, whether you are in business and you have a high pressure job, whether you are working for another company and somebody is always on your case, or whether you are, again, a parent who has sometimes unruly children, whether you're a teacher and you have this or that, or whether you are so engaged into the social media world that it's always moving you, disassociate. And then ask yourself, well, how can I do better with this? How can I make sure I only focus on the things that I could control? That's the challenge. So that is, my friends, the 7 levels of awareness. We could spend a lot longer on this, but I wanted to give you like a little burst of hopefully inspiration. Animalistic is the lowest level. Let's not go there. Masses, stay away from that. I almost think that's worse than the animalistic. Understanding, we realize we want more, but we're not sure how to go about it. Individual, we know we're a rock star. We want to go move forward. Discipline, we develop all the skills to be successful. Recondition, we create a worthy ideal. We become emotionally and mentally invested in what we're doing. And the last one, disassociation, where the outside world no longer controls our perspective in life. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you again. If you're watching, great. If you're listening, great. I hope you got some takeaways. Please feel free to reach out to us, info@empoweredmastery.com. We will be on Facebook. We will be, send this thing to LinkedIn. We'll get this all out on all those channels that we can, and YouTube as well. And please like us, follow us, and then, of course, more importantly, share us to somebody who you believe could hear this message. Thank you so much. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.